Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the FCDB Cup 2017 qualifiers. As always, my name is Hawker, and I am joined by the lovely Sir Danny to bring you the action today. And Danny, this game, it doesn't really matter too much, if I'm being 100% honest here. I mean, Team5 and eL'quvet, they should both be through, I think, but they're both towards the bottom, so they're going to want to be able to get the win for that seeding, of course.
Yeah, howdy. Yeah, this matchup not of the greatest importance, but still, you're just gonna have to play it through. The next best of one, in which Kingwin will be playing, I do forget the opponent. Now that's a game
Epsilon.
that is of bigger, of Epsilon. Now that is a game of bigger importance. For instance, if Kingwin end up losing that one, they're probably not gonna be making through to the LAN finals, and that's a game of greater importance. The eL'quvet versus Team5 one, I don't know. I have to honestly say that I really don't know, but what I do know is that this is a relatively good map for both of these teams here, eL'quvet and Team5. Even though eL'quvet is the sort of Russian mixed team that likes playing Mirage, but they also like playing Trains, so it's gonna be interesting to see for them to play on one of their better maps. Team5 though, Train is also quite a decent map for them, as for their Swedish counterpart of Passions.
Yeah, certainly is the case, and something else I just want to quickly point out as well is that I was browsing Twitter before these games, and I believe Jazar has stepped down from the Team5 lineup. He's just playing out a couple more games for them, so that's something that's interesting as we head away into the pistol. It's already Kiz to find the first 2 kills, make it a third! The USP going huge on the CT side as Sumdai Young also finds a kill himself. It is that man we were talking about earlier. Jazar left 1 on 3, but he will go down. And Kiss picks up a 4K there on the pistol. Really crisp headshots coming in for eL'quvet.
Very crisp indeed. I mean, Kizzy, he had his crosshair towards main, and that was where the majority of players were pouring out. So those weren't the hardest shots for him to hit. Of course, they were in long distance, and that is where the USP can truly reign supreme. As now, they end up winning the pistol round, but they're gonna have to fight for the subsequent round as well here, eL'quvet. As you take a look at Team5, and YZ Notorious has picked up, of all weapons, the sawed-off, but now Jazar does start off things very good here for Team5. They get the initial frag, and eL'quvet only has 1. Make that now a second defender on this B-bomb side. Team5 looks like they're gonna try to push here, but Karis, though, it does pick up the 1 frag while it's being naded and Molotov at the same time. Kizzy, he's got some backup in the form of Die, but really, this is quite a hectic start for both of these teams.
Indeed it is. Jazar has the FAMAS, but he was sticking with the Deagle. Oh, the timing is awful. He's going to go down. He had the knife in his hands. He didn't expect the aggression. And elsewhere, again, it's Kiss playing from Connector. And again, it's Kiss finding 2 fairly easy kills for himself to give eL'quvet that 2-0 scoreline. And on the Team5 side of things, again, it was looking fairly good to start off the round there, but I don't think they really expected eL'quvet to go sort of pushing up ramp like that, especially when you're up against pistols. That's a fairly big risk to take. If he goes down there, the B site could be wide open, but eL'quvet take the calculated risk, and it pays off for them to get the 2-0 lead. And here comes a 5 Glock rush towards B. Sumdai Young spraying them down. Oh my goodness gracious me. It's an ace for Sumdai Young in about 1 second. That MP9 sprays them all down, and just like that, the round is over.
Talk about calculated risks. I mean, he knows the fact that Team5 is going to be on an eco, and for him to push up like that, in most cases, the pistols should be overwhelming the CT, but apparently not in that round. Sumdai Young picking up 5 relatively easy, quick frags in very quick succession. Team, though, they're going to have to see what they're made of here on this gun run, as they have everything prepped up. They have the rifles needed to win a round like this, and they also have the op onto Jazar, who is, of all positions, towards the main. He's not seeing anyone as of yet, but he's got to be very careful. Pot on me, Jazar! There's a player right in front of the train. There's something that Jazar has to be very aware of.
I believe he did spot out Hazing's head there. And Hazing now peeking into the open, goes a bit too far. Jazar does indeed find that opening kill, and you can see the rest of Team5 now. They are slowly but surely grouping up around this A site push. Lazuika and Dies are the two here. Dies finds 2 in 1. Where did that come from? All of a sudden, eL'quvet have a man advantage extended further by Dies. He finally goes down, but the damage is done. Jazar with the AWP is left in a 1 versus 2. It's a shame we didn't get Dies' perspective on that, because it would have been very nice to see that first shot come out. Either way, there is Kiss to find the headshot to make sure Jazar cannot clutch. And eL'quvet take a 4-0 lead.
A 4-0 lead is what eL'quvet is having right now. It's looking relatively good here for the CT side. Two of their players, they really haven't had much of an opportunity to even step up, Lazuika and Hazing. But really, I mean, Team5, they haven't really found their mojo, I guess you could say. The sort of T side is now looking quite sloppy. I guess they need to play a bit more here on the T side to get a better understanding on how eL'quvet is playing. And really, eL'quvet is playing relatively passively though. Kizzy, he does, I think, hit Pullman there. I think that might have been a headshot of all things. But in fact, Pullman, even though he's 40 points of health for him, he's got 4 teammates alongside him. And this is what seems to be a B push. The nade does come through. And now the terrorist side team is ready and waiting.
Young deploys the smoke and gets back to safety. In comes the incendiary as well, and Team5 do get that kill. YZN just goes running aggressively with that P250. Here comes Karis as well. The CZ finds a frag of his own, and all of a sudden there's a chance for the T side, although Lazuika will get a kill back and put some sense back into this round, but not for too much longer because he is already dead. And there we go, Karis finds another trade. It's all going perfectly for Team5. They're finding the trades with the pistols and they're leaving Dies to clutch with an AWP in a 1v2. He's making his way back around towards Connector, trying to find the angle, but Karis catches him off guard up on top of that red train, and he will even get to save an AWP as Team5 managed to win with just the pistols on the quick B play.
Yes, keep that in mind. Quick B play. This could mean that, okay, Team5 now notice, if we were able to quick pick up a round like that in quick succession with the pistols, only the pistols, what happens if we do so on a rifle round? I think that is now what Team5 is figuring things out. If a quick round like that works out for them, maybe a quick round with the rifles should also be going in their favor, especially as B. There's some stuff happening here towards B bomb. So we're already seeing one of the players, to be exact, Karis, taking brown holes by his lonesome though. But Kizzy, he has got a very nice angle there towards Ivy. And even though his teammate does repeat Lazuika, we also got to keep in mind on one of the other players from the CT side, that being none other than, in fact, Die. Look at him. He's already got teammate. This is going to be quite the powerful position, I presume, in the later stages of this round. But Kizzy also taking down Jazar, and Team5, again, they're looking relatively disjointed. Every single player is just peeking out there one by one, and Team5 are not looking like the certain team you'd be expecting.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment so far, especially in a round like this where they do lose those first 2 picks. Kiss with the AWP able to find them fairly easily there, as you were kind of alluding to earlier. And so now Team5 from a 3 versus 5 position might just have to go for a desperate B push, but the reason why it's desperate is because there's 2 players here holding, as well as Hazing pushing up. Young gonna spray them both down. Karis did find the eventual trade, but he's still stuck in a 1v3. And I don't know if he'll expect 2 players to be coming from ramp. Dies is going to push through the smoke. He gets the tag on towards Karis, and there is the follow-up headshot to find the kill. So eL'quvet will manage to get themselves a 5-1 lead now. And again, Team5, as you were saying, that round loss there could be fairly costly for them, because we'll see the money come in, even with the bomb plant. Not really the best of cash, except for Karis.
No, the money's not looking so good here, I guess you could say that. Oh, okay. I understand you, admin. It's always nice to see the players with proper names, but at the same time, if you take a look about the naming scheme of things, eL'quvet have got some of the more funkier names, I'd say, in the Counter-Strike scene. His actual name via HLTV is Kiss, in fact, but now he's here, goes by the name of Kizzy and SDY. You know, as they've been saying sometimes previously, Young. Now that is quite a funky nickname. And speaking about this push though, Karis, That's quite the interesting push from him, and he's actually going to try to go for seconds, and the second kill will go in favor of him. And this is what we were talking about, Team 5, when they're going out aggressive, getting these sort of frags. This is where they succeed, but eL'quvet, you know, he had a pretty good hold there, but now it's going to be all up to the 2T standing on the same bomb side. But Hazing, that is what he needed. He can get an easy frag here, and an easy frag will go in his favor. Karis is up against Hazing. I think Hazing spotted him out, and the nade is gonna finish things off. I'm not quite sure how that just happened. It's also quite mind-boggling. I mean, in 1 versus 2, where you have your teammate backing you, there really is no sense to fake plant. You have a teammate backing you up. I mean, if you're gonna die, in most cases, your teammate is gonna die, or he might just refrag, so faking it barely made any sort of sense.
And now into this round, Team 5, they will be back to the buy. So considering they only had the 1 AK in the previous, they will be hoping this goes better for them, because now they've got 5 AKs going straight towards the B bomb site. We saw the quick B play work previously with the pistols. This time, eL'quvet have rotated fairly heavily in towards Connector, and yet Team 5 still not going to commit to the push. You can see now eL'quvet's having second thoughts, but just look at Kiss coming in for the flank. YZN spots him out. That's such a huge kill for the Team 5 side, because now they get the 2-man advantage. They sort of take the information away from eL'quvet that they initially had from that aggression. And tough to see what the Russians can do now from this point onwards.
Yeah, what can they do in a round like this? I do have to admit, eL'quvet is in a pretty nifty spot. I mean, if this is going to be an A push, which seems to be likely, he can be quite a big of a problem here for this Terracite team. But on the other hand, you also got to take a look at one of the other T's positioning. Jazar, he in fact sneaked past through the player who was holding towards Coil, but now he's missing the shot. Jazar, he in fact will be able to follow up, but still, Team 5 are now going to be having an easy B bomb site, and Die and eL'quvet will probably just back away and save in a round like this.
There goes eL'quvet finding 1 free kill. It doesn't really mean too much when you put into perspective the fact that Team 5 will be getting this round and will likely be able to save 4 AKs in the end. Looks like a technical pause call from YZN, so we'll have a little bit of a break after this round. And that might give eL'quvet a little bit more time to discuss what they can do into this upcoming round, because you can see by looking at their money, they don't have the best of buys looking to be lined up. Hazing does have a little bit of extra cash, and they will get, of course, the money for losing the round in a second here. So we'll have to wait and see how much that comes to. Looks like eL'quvet here, thinking of trying to find an exit kill, but he will just stay safe. Ooh, nearly spots out Palmy. However, just about gets back to safety. And so, as I was saying, eL'quvet, I think it is worth going for the force buy when they do save these 2 guns. Hazing can get another rifle, and it's not going to be a terrible buy, especially on train. There are certainly positions, I think, if you want to push with a UMP in towards Pop Dog or something similar, that can certainly have a decent chance of being successful. So, not a terrible position for eL'quvet, but they certainly will not have the best of weaponry, if you like, compared to Team 5 with the full rifles, of course.
Truly, that is the whole point. I mean, Team 5, they have rifles. They also have a decent amount of utility as well. eL'quvet is kind of lacking in the sort of rifle department. Some Die Young and Kiss is just going to be having to stick with what they've got, and that's a UMP and a Deagle. Definitely not something worth gloating about. But if you have a player like Die, I mean, in his position, him having the op, he's going to have to be, I'd say, of great importance. And also look at his position. This is where he can get at least 1 frag, but apparently he will get none, as the Terracite team is now pushing, continuing on with this push on the B bomb side. Die is going to have it difficult. He's going to get overwhelmed. Simple as that. eL'quvet, they have 4 players on the A bomb side, but that is not where the bomb is planted. The bomb is at B, and the rest of the eL'quvet side is probably thinking about setting up positions for exit frags at this point.
Yeah, remember the first round that Team 5 won as well was with just pistols pushing the B site. So this time with the rifles, they have a much better time of things. As soon as they get that first kill, the round was pretty much done. And that is a fairly brutal way for eL'quvet to lose this round, because we were kind of hyping up the fact that they did have a chance in the round, that they did have a decent enough buy on their side of things. We're going to see a couple more exit kills come through. And that was one more rifle lost. I think that was eL'quvet that went down, and Hazing is still going to continue to take this fight. Just about takes down Kevit, in fact, with the help from some Die Young, and he's going to come over. Doesn't get the AK, though. So it will just be the 1M4 saved. But again, eL'quvet here in a pretty tough position. Hazing's decided to go for the Force, I think, and I'm not sure that was all that necessary in a round like this. Yeah,
I guess you could say that.
Like, he's the only one that's invested. It's a little bit weird.
Yeah, I think you might say, oh, you know, eL'quvet might be making the investment here, but it looks like it's going to be just Hazing, the only player who actually got for this sort of buy here, the M4A4. And, I mean, it's not looking so good here, I'd say, for the boys at eL'quvet. Again, they're giving away this B bomb site, and, oh, okay, Die is going to be finding that frag, which I guess isn't that bad for him. It's just that he doesn't have any sort of backup from his teammates, and if you're Hazing, in a spot like this, you just gotta have to say, keep that rifle into the next round and hope that your players with the pistols can do some serious damage, and damage they are doing here, all things considering. But now eL'quvet just pushing through the smoke like that. Hazing, he's gonna try to follow up, but he's a bit too late, I'd say, and Jazar with the op just swings around and gets a frag. Team 5 now, at least making the scoreline a bit more tangible on this terrorist side.
Yeah, certainly seems to be the case. Jazar, of course, will stick with that AWP after landing a couple of nice shots to close out the previous round. And look at the eL'quvet buy here. They don't really have a great buy, all things considered. No defuse kit. The utility is somewhat lackluster, as well as Hazing, of course, forced down to the UMP. But just look at Team 5 going for the quick aggression, yet again trying to make things happen early into the round. But this time, the trades have currently gone in favour of the CT side, thanks to eL'quvet finding another frag. He shuts down the bomb plant attempt. Karis will get the eventual trade back to a 2-on-3. It looks like the bomb could have been planted, but Karis didn't know that. He went for the fake, and that allows Dies to come in. Gives him a little bit more time to get into position and ensure the round goes in favour of the CT side.
Truly, eL'quvet and Die making such a good effort there when it comes down to defending that A bomb site. Team 5 kind of crumbling there, even though I guess you could say that they had found, I'd say, the majority of success on that B bomb site. You know, when they're going out fast, they're going out quick. This is where Team 5 is actually able to get some sort of rounds here. Again, now I think they might just try to go back to basics. I think they might try to play a bit more aggressive here. I mean, that's what's working out for you, then go do it. It's as simple as that, but peeking out right there, I mean, Karis, he saw the smoke, but the thing is, though, Die has got one heck of an angle there. Very nice one-way smoke from him, and oh, Paulman, he actually does damage on his teammates. That was not supposed to happen there from Paulman. Misses the nade, and this still means that Team 5, they're quite struggling here by the looks of it.
They will try and make their way out Ivy to get their way back into the round, though. And there we go. YZM finds that headshot. In comes the quick trade, but Die's playing so close with the AWP. He still gets the second kill as Team 5 just peak one by one. Dies does go out a little bit too far, though, as Jazar holds the angle himself with the AWP to find the trade kill back. But the bomb is out in the open. Out comes the peak, but Jazar missed that shot. And SDY is still locking down the bomb. In the meantime, it's Hazing to find the first kill. And SDY secures the round win. And you kind of saw there, Team 5 a little bit uncoordinated on the push out towards Ivy. They weren't really ready to find the trade, especially considering Dies was holding that angle with an AWP. If they just push together, they're guaranteed, basically, to get the trade frag through. But a little bit hesitant was the second player, and that means that Team 5 will be back to the pistols.
And I guess you could say that's the storyline of this Terroricide team. You know, when they're moving out, you might see that, oh, they're going to be pushing as a team, like 3 people. That seems to be like a good setup. But the problem is now they have found very little success. And even in a round like this, where they had all 5 players close together, they weren't able to get a single frag. And you're probably thinking they kind of know how teamwork is supposed to work in a game like Counter-Strike, but simply things aren't going their way. And when they're trying to go for the sort of individual peaks, the sort of individual engagements, that is where things are even worse. So Team 5, they gotta find some sort of even ground here to understand what really works out for them and what could really help them out secure the last 2 rounds here on this, the first half.
Yeah, eL'quvet again using utility early on to deny the early aggression. because that's all that Team5 really have managed to get round wins from. It's really been the early pushes that have been successful for them. But now that eL'quvet are just mollying off positions early on, Team5 can't go for the quick pushes. So now Dies is set up to try and hold this down. I think he even tagged Palmy there with the AWP through the wall after finding that first kill. That was an insane start to the round, as now Dies is going to go for even more aggression. It's another free kill. They were lining up nades, and Dies so quick with the AWP. He finally goes a bit too far as Palmy finds the kill on towards him, but the damage is already done as Palmy is stuck in 1-on-4.
Yeah, Paulman, don't expect much from him. That's a double peak. But the problem is, though, you know, it's still being a 10-4 scoreline. Team5 is gonna have to have one of the best, I'd say, CT sides they'd have ever had if they want to still have a chance here on Train. The scoreline is looking grim. If they somehow make it 10-5, then I guess it isn't that bad, all things considering. But still, eL'quvet with 10 on the board. They're gonna be, I'd say, quite happy with what they've achieved so far. Some of the players really have in quite the game here. Hazing struggling a bit, and as we're already seeing, he's the one to give out that pick for the terrorist side team. Die in a good position though, does drop Jazar, but that Molotov is gonna make things difficult for him with that peek from Pullman. Unnecessary to say the least, and you do have Wyzian and Karis, but they're both behind Brown Train, and that's an easy frag for Kizzy. Karis now left in a 1 versus 3. He's gonna have to clutch. It's possible spawning out Kizzy, and I think he also knows where SDOI is at, but the nade is quite massive, and Karis, the double peak is way too strong, and eL'quvet will be getting their 11. It was a bit more difficult, I'd say, this time around, but really, eL'quvet, they are the better CT side team here on Train.
Certainly seemed like the case at the end there. I was a little bit scared when I saw the double AWPs left in the 2-on-1 for eL'quvet. The first shot was missed, but then the second was successful to make sure they can get the defuse. And taking a quick look at the scoreboard at the half, we've been talking about Dies a lot, the Kyrgyzstani AWPer. I've probably said that wrong, but you know, we'll go with it. We'll give it a go. But he's actually being out-fragged by Sumdai Young, who I don't remember making any particularly massive plays. It looks like maybe he's just been sort of fragging in between each round and just doing his job and not necessarily making the flashy plays, but it's not always the flashy plays that win you the games. You need the person to just get those solid kills. Either way, let's see what eL'quvet have in mind for this pistol round. They're all walking together. They are all walking as a team, and they all have a little bit of utility. Well, not all of them, but some Young and Hazing do. And with the push coming in towards B, Keve is going to be the first line of defense. He gets dinked so quickly. And now eL'quvet might just look to explode onto this B bomb site with the use of the utility. But look at Team5. They've rotated over. So this is a little bit awkward now for eL'quvet.
You can say that, as the rotation does come through from Team5. The problem is, though, Kev is so on HP. I don't know if he's going to be able to accomplish much, but he's got 2 players backing him up, and apparently Kevin will be getting a frag. So this is not looking so bad here for the CT side team. Kevin with a second one. Wow. He's doing quite a lot of work here. Wyzian also timing in. And this is where Hazing and SDY going to be having it difficult. The Molotov will be prepped and released. And no defuse should be coming in for the time being, though. But once the Molotov is over, it's just going to be around for Team5 at this point. They have a lot of players surviving. They also apparently... Oh, I thought that grenade being thrown was actually a smoke grenade, but that was still a decoy. So anyhow, around for Team5, and great stuff there from Kevin. You know, he's only 20 HP, but surviving for so long and even getting some frags, that is what really allowed for players for like a YZN to acquire those free frags on the retake. Nicely done by him. And eL'quvet now, I don't think it's going to be a difficult choice. I think the Eco is the appropriate choice for a round like this.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment of the position. They are, though, going to invest into some pistols. So I'll be interested to see what their money is like into the upcoming rounds, because it was already going to be sort of on the edge. Even after you get that bomb plant, it can be an issue. There goes Hazing, finding a nice deagle headshot for himself. So he does get rewarded for his investment, but Sumdai Young will not be rewarded as he gets his head taken off by YZN. There goes Karis, good spray down at range. As you would expect here, eL'quvet, they're trying to take the fights with the deagles at long range, but not really working out against the rifles. Hazing tries to push forwards, but try as he might, he's not going to get anything out of that position as YZN steals away a triple kill. So now eL'quvet, they are going to invest into the buy here. They're going to have almost no nades into this round, though. This is just going to be reliant on aim. Look, they're going to have 2 flashbangs. Unless Young goes for like a UMP or something to get the nades. Okay, he goes for a Galil, but still not very much to work with in terms of nades.
Trust me, the Russian side knows what they're doing. They're gonna be good, I'd say, with even having those AK-47s in a round like this. Yes, they don't have utility, but why do you need utility when you're pushing out so aggressive like this on this A bomb side? Die could be getting a frag here as he's moving between Sandwich into towards Ivy, and he will be ripping off the head of Jazar. And as the players are wrapping around, Karas though is very aware, but not aware enough to get that frag. Kevin though has been spotted out, and that is about it. Paulman though, he is coming from main, but he has spotted out relatively quickly by SDY, and the player from Heaven will be finishing things off. And that is why, Haka, you don't need nades when playing like that from eL'quvet.
Yeah, and to be fair to eL'quvet, I think if they are going to go for that buy there, if they're not going to have too many nades, I definitely agree that's a good decision to just go for that fast A push, just try and catch people off guard. And you see it does work out. They got that first kill in towards Pop Dog, and then they just didn't look back as they made their way towards the site. And again, Dai's playing particularly well there. Even with the AK, he finds himself 2 kills that made a fairly important difference in deciding the round. So now Team 5, they have gone for the buy, but a couple of players not quite with perfect weaponry. We're already going to see the push come out towards B. Kev has had to go incredibly passive here. He spots Kizzy running past though, so he gets that first kill. And there is the aforementioned Dies to find himself the trade frag back. So Team 5 with a full 4v4 retake on the B site without the defuse kit. This is very difficult to see what they can do here, even with some utility. They're going to have to find the kills, and YZN does just that, as does Karas. So all of a sudden, they've got the 2-man advantage here.
They're gonna be happy about that, and how could you not be? Wise Yendo will be spawning out dying Yen, and where on earth is hazing? He's towards upper there, but Karas will be taking him out. And now apparently this is gonna be a round for Team 5. The defuse is gonna be close. Oh, Wise Yen is gonna be getting it at the very last possible seconds, but still. Really great stuff there from Team 5. You know, they had such a good retake, you have to admit. eL'quvet making some mistakes, but truly, we gotta give credit for the CT side team.
Yeah, nicely done by Team 5. The Swedes get themselves right back into contention here because eL'quvet are yet again down to pistols. Did see those Deagles previously find 1 kill on the last round where they went for a similar buy. And this time the nades into team main take Lezweka down to 35 HP early on. That's not going to be the cause of the first kill though. It's going to be Palmy with the M4 who takes down Hazing over towards Ivy to open things up. And nice to see Team 5 also have 2 players committed to the B site just to make sure there's a very small possibility the bomb can be planted, especially with, who is that? That's Kevit pushed up towards the site itself. He's in a great position to deny any chance of the bomb plant. So I like this little sort of switch up in this round specifically for Team 5. And Palmy, yet again, finds another kill out towards Ivy.
And Jazar will also be taking down Lezweka as expected, as he was having quite a very good angle there. SDY and Die. They're in a pretty difficult spot, I'd say. You mean 2 versus 5, them having only those pistols, and SDY not even having any sort of pistol is pretty much impossible to win the round at this point. And they're not even gonna try too hard. eL'quvet is gonna be focusing on the upcoming gun round, I'd say at this point. SDY, there's so many players just aiming right at him, and that is gonna be it. That's a clean round for Team 5, and they can be happy about that. I mean, after all, on the city side here, on the second half, they themselves could really be in a good position to start building up this sort of bank, and that's something they could really use, especially if eL'quvet is going to be picking up, for instance, 1 round and might end up losing the second one. Still, Team 5, if they're going to be having the economy game going in their favor, they are still in a position to win this one. Don't get me wrong, but they're going to have to start by winning off rounds, and eL'quvet, are they in a position to do so? I mean, they have a weak buy here, but SDY, that is one hell of a quick pick from him, and well, this puts eL'quvet in a pretty good position, though. Karas tapping away as he does take down Lezweka, but isn't it a bit too late in this point in time? Kev is still on the B bomb side, rotating to help out Karas, but as Karas gets taken down, Kev in such an awkward spot, and eL'quvet again, having barely any sort of utility, out-aimed their opposition.
Yeah, I think eL'quvet only had 2 flashbangs at the start of the round, if I'm not mistaken. And then at the end of the round, they still had 2 flashbangs on their side. I think they did throw a couple out, but picked up some from dead bodies or something like that. But still, a little funny fact in the middle of the round there. And eL'quvet, off the back of winning that one, will have a pretty good chance, considering they've got a 13-8 lead. If they win this round, you would expect them to have a very good chance to win the game. They are still having to deal with the double AWPs though. Karis and Jazar going to be both AWPing for the CT side for the Swedes. And Jazar up on green train, trying to line up that wall bang, but he's not going to get rewarded. Not quite the right angle. And so eL'quvet not really doing too much to start things off. Although as I say that, the push from YZN just about gets himself a kill after he initially went down. When Molotov finds the trade, Dies nearly gets himself a frag towards Ivy. Still trying to hold this angle, but Team5 just going to play safe after spotting out the AWP.
They're going to be playing relatively safe, and so safe in fact that they're going to be giving away Ivy to the terrorist side team. I don't think that's such a great idea from them, to be honest, really. Now you have this sort of three players who are relatively close to each other, but at the same time, if Ivy gets overrun, it's just going to be a rip from that point onward, and we're seeing Kevin being overrun towards the B-bomb side. One of the players has rotated, that's going to be Karis with the op, and the T's have to make a decision, and by the looks of it, they are gonna go towards the A-bomb side, but this is where Jazar is looking towards Pop, and Die is alive, but there is Jazar with the op again. Apparently the setup works out wonders for them, I have to admit though. In a world where Kevin actually gets taken out of eL'quvet, I'd still say they have quite a decent fighting chance, but Karis did a very good job. He rotated from Ivy, I believe, into towards the B-bomb side. That is where he's able to take down one of the attackers, and Team5 picking up a round for themselves. eL'quvet though, I mean... I see what he did there. And in fact, it's gonna be the A-bomb side. As Dai has said it in the chat, it's gonna be very much the A-bomb side, but even though they're gonna get overwhelmed by the pistols, they gotta be careful here, Team5.
Yeah, the double AWPs could get overwhelmed because eL'quvet have got up close. But Kevez's UMP will also be good up close for a kill himself. The bomb still goes down. And that nade over the top did some damage. We're going to see YZN come in. This could be big. Gets the second kill. Finally, though, the trade comes in, but Jazar is here in position to execute the last 2 opponents, and they will get to save the double AWPs. Probably a little bit closer than Team5 would have initially hoped for, but they still are successful on the retake. They still show that their setup was good enough to take the round win. However, here we go. Back to a bye for both teams. And Dies, again, is back on that AWP. So that's going to be something that Team5 will have to watch out for, because especially on that CT side, he was doing very well with it. Not too much on the T side so far, but we'll have to see if that changes in this round 24.
Yeah, not so much on the terrorist side, as he has been having the op on the CT side. That was where he was found the most amount of success. But also take a look at Laswega. He's already into towards Sandwich. That's quite a powerful position, but also YZN and Kevin dueling it up to fight the T's towards brown holes, and they are going to be getting a frag. But take a look at the terrorist side team. They're having so much control here onto towards the A-bomb side. I don't think the CTs will be expecting it, and we're already seeing Laswega as he is pushing through. The players in Ivy are dead, and the T's, they have bombs in control, which is nice and all, but they have to recover the bomb, and this is where mistakes are being made. Kizzy and Dai are still alive, but Jazar, he's gonna try to peek through the smoke, I believe, but it'd be quite risky from him in a scenario like this.
He decides against it, and in the meantime, YZN spots out Kiss. Dies was not in position. He went back for the bomb, and I'm not sure why Kiss was pushing by himself. So that means that Dies now is left in a very difficult position, 1 versus 3. Unless the CTs overpeak into this AWP, and there should be almost no chance for Dies here, especially without any utility and any knowledge of YZN's position. In fact, YZN, 4 kills on this round on towards the A-hold. Really nicely done from him. I believe he was switching up his positions fairly often as well. He started in connector, then made his way to the A site, and he was, I think, the rotator over to the site maybe even. So nice job from him to be able to recover the round, and more importantly, continue to keep eL'quvet's money low and make sure this game is very much going to end up playing out close by the looks of things. 13-11, and still not really decisive either way.
Yeah, now this is I think, where things do get tricky and even scary for eL'quvet. They had such a good advantage coming into this second half, but as they haven't only been able to acquire 2 rounds so far, it's definitely not looking so good for them. Team 5, I think they're starting to recover mentally as a team, as they're finally now starting to find their form here on the CT side of Train. Even though Samdai Young will be getting a second frag as well into the round, this is still going to be Team 5's one to pick. 13-12 is going to be the score, and for the first time ever, I'd say we're seeing it being so close here on Train. Really, eL'quvet have been in charge throughout the majority of the CT side on Train, but now Team 5 are finally making it more viable for them. They make it more competitive, so to speak.
Indeed, that's certainly the case. These double AWPs have really got themselves rolling, and Karis with one of those AWPs is going to go towards Brownhalls for the aggression, but we have to watch towards Dies. He gets the first pick as YZN goes out into the open. He's gone down first, and so now Team 5 are going to have to react to the fact that they only have 2 players left on A by the rotation coming over. Here comes Dies though, finding another frag for himself. eL'quvet is still on towards the site, trying to find the angle. In the midst of the smokes, he goes aggressive, but only good for the 1 kill. And so still, eL'quvet hold on to the man advantage, and that will continue to be the case as Jazer in towards Heaven is 1-on-2 with the AWP.
Oh, unnecessary from Kiss, but at least Dies quick on the refrag. I mean, that was not supposed to happen. Him peeking there, I kind of understand. You know, he's probably thinking, oh, I have such a good angle here. There's no way in the world Jazar could be expecting to see my little head. But the thing is, though, not only did he see the head, but he also spotted out the shoulders of the players. So that was quite an easy frag from Jazar's perspective. And I understand Team 5. They should be going for the tactical pause here. But what I don't understand is, why on earth do they still invest? You know, I mean, the pause is a perfect opportunity to discuss what on earth are they gonna do. And with YZN only having half a grand, I mean, that is not a lot. He's probably not gonna have to force buy because heck, his team force bought. And if they are gonna be ending up losing this one, Team 5, that puts them in a scenario where they don't have any sort of money for that possibly last round of the second half. So that is not good. That is definitely not good for the Swedish team, but they're still discussing things, which I do understand that. But now having that up onto Karis and that up onto eL'quvet, it would be very interesting to see for one of the ops maybe to be positioned towards the B bomb side, even maybe towards Brown Halls. If the player is towards Brown Halls, he can have so much intel there from the CT side. It'd be quite an interesting position from him. But speaking about interesting stuff, Laswika, of all weapons, has perched up just the sort of. I think with that sort of, he's actually gonna drop down Pop Dog, but no, he's still moving with it. Okay, then Laswika, that's quite the interesting purchase.
Could have gone for the UMP, that decides he's not going to be boring. He's going to make it exciting for us with that sword off. And we will have to make sure we stick around and see if that sword off has too much success. We are seeing Dies with the AWP on the T side, try to see if he can find the entry. Of course, one of the 2 premium rifles, if you like, on their side, alongside Hazing with the AK. So certainly understandable he's trying to get that opening kill, but you saw Team 5 playing fairly safe towards B, not being exposed from too many angles. For what it's worth, currently Team 5 have a fair few players committed towards B, but just as I say that, 2 of them go back in towards Connector to leave eL'quvet by himself on the B site. Seems like they are rotating back and forth, and eL'quvet themselves starting to use a lot of their utility here. It looks like they are lining up the push towards the A site, and there are 4 players here ready to hold them off.
4 players indeed, as eL'quvet are pushing forward. You know, Karis did such a good job on the hold, but now the rest of his squad has to step up, and Paulman will, SDY will be getting that one more frag here, and Jazar and eL'quvet. You know, Jazar is relatively low in HP. That shouldn't be much of a factor as he is with the AWP, but as he's gonna re-peek, he will be picking up one more frag, and SDY, he could have gotten that one, but eL'quvet was way too quick there on the refrag. That was some nice stuff from Team 5. Especially, you know, Karis, you know, picking up those 2 initial frags, that did definitely make quite the difference here. And eL'quvet, I didn't really mention the T side though, as honestly, the T's, they don't really have a lot of money themselves. They're gonna be having to go for an eco at this point. They want to get the proper buy, at least the AKs, and once they have those AKs, they can be quite the, I'd say, powerful team on these sort of aggressive pushes that we've seen from them.
It's been such a hard-fought game so far. These recent rounds have been really back and forth. We've seen both teams have success. But this time, eL'quvet with just the pistols are unlikely to have too much success. As I say that, Sumdaiwon does spray down Karis with the P250, and there's a second kill. Out of nowhere, eL'quvet have themselves a two-man advantage, but here comes Palmy, finding 2 kills back into the 2-on-2, but he goes out a bit too far. As Lozweka finds the trade, it's up to Jazar with an AWP. In a 1 versus 2, he spots out the shoulder, but doesn't pull the trigger. Just the information for him to work with. Gets a defuse kit. There's a smoke up, so he's not going to be able to find the kill there. And that makes things much more difficult. The timing is so wrong. He pulls out the knife to try and get himself forwards more quickly. And I think Jazar realised there's just no way he can find both kills. So he's going to have to save the AWP. And eL'quvet win an absolute miracle of a round to get themselves up to map point.
Yes, that's the word what I was looking for, miracle. That was in no way supposed to go in favor of eL'quvet, yet they somehow come through in Team5 now. This is even looking worse than what they had previously, honestly. They're gonna have to force buy here because it could be their very last round here on train, and honestly they have to go for whatever they can. It's a good thing that at least Jazar gets to keep the op, so they have that one powerful weapon in the hands of a relatively good opper. But at the same time, that round should not have gone in favor of eL'quvet. And speaking about things that should not be going in their favor, that sort of push there from Ivy. And speaking about other pushes into towards the A bombs, the players are falling dead, and now Kevin and Paulman are alive, but I would say for not long. Paulman has retrieved the op, but it's not going to be in too much. eL'quvet, you know, we do get to see Team5 going for that sort of desperation play in the end, and it didn't work out for them. eL'quvet reigns supreme, and they're going to be making it 16-13.
Yeah, and that means that eL'quvet will get themselves their second win on the board. So both these teams will end with the same record. I believe that will allow eL'quvet to overtake Team5, though. And so that means they could get a slightly easier matchup heading into the playoffs. I think the teams they will likely potentially be up against, it's sort of around the sort of WASD, Kinguin, and Seed. It depends on how the final games play out. So I think it doesn't matter too much in terms of seeding. All of those teams, WASD, Kinguin, and Seed, have been very, very good so far. So it's going to be difficult either way. But a good showing from eL'quvet here. A couple of players showing up, certainly individually. A couple of 30 bombs, I believe, for I think it was Sumdai Young and Dies who may have got the 30 bombs. I don't exactly remember, but I certainly remember some big individual performances coming out from the predominantly Russian team.
Yes, predominantly Russian team, and that's going to be it for this matchup. I think this was the very last matchup for Group A, and now we're going to be heading over to Group B and going to be playing our very last match of the groups, Kinguin versus Epsilon. Now that's going to be quite the interesting matchup.
Yeah, we'll get to see if Kinguin can manage to get themselves 4 wins, or if Epsilon will snatch it away from them. If Kinguin do get the 4 wins, they'll be up to the same scoreline as WASD, and I'm not exactly sure what the deciding factor will be if they have the same score, but right now Kinguin do have better round difference, so if they did get the win, and if it was up to round difference, then that would be enough. But we'll have to make sure we know exactly what the case is in terms of those ties, but we will make sure to stick around either way because it's definitely going to be an important game coming up after this break.